Xiang skirt. Yanzhong, a native of Yunnan, Shaanxi province, lived with his brother Yanbo, and the two brothers were very friendly. Yanbo died when he was 30, childless, and his wife died soon after. Yanzhong was so distraught that he often thought that if he could have two sons, he would have one as his son-in-law to his deceased brother-in-law. But after giving birth to his son, his wife died. Fearing that the new wife would abuse her son after the sequel, Yanzhong didn't want to marry any more than to buy a concubine. There was a slave in the next village, and Yanzhong went to see each other. He was not happy at all, and he was very upset and bored. I met a friend and asked him to drink. After that, I came back drunk. On the way, Yanzhong suddenly ran into Liaozhai, a classmate who had died. He greeted Yanzhong warmly by shaking hands. He asked Yanzhong to come to his home and sit down. Yanzhong was so drunk that he forgot he was dead and followed him away. When I entered the house, I didn't look like Liang's original home, so I asked him if I could. And I replied, "I've only moved here recently." When I got to sit down in the house and try to drink, I lost my drink. Mr. Liang instructed Yan to wait and go out shopping with the bottle. Standing at the door waiting for Liaozhai, Yanzhong saw a woman riding a donkey, followed by a young child, about 8 or 9 years old, who looked like her brother Yanbo. Yanzhong was palpitating and rushing to catch up, asking the child what his last name was. The child replied, surnamed Yan. Yanzhong, more skeptical, asked, "What's your father's name?" The answer is, "I don't know." As we speak, we have reached the children's doorstep, and the woman walks in under the donkey. Yanzhong pulled up the children and said, "Is your father home?" The child nodded and walked in. A few moments later, another woman came out to see that. Of course, it was Yanzhong's sister-in-law. Meeting Yanzhong, I was surprised to ask how he got here. Yanzhong was so sad that he followed his sister-in-law into the house and saw the courtyard of the house, which was tidy and fresh. He asked, "Where is my brother buried?" She replied, "I'm not back yet." Yanzhong asked, "Who came in on the donkey?" "It's your brother's concubine. She's already had 2 boys." She replied, "The big one's called Da. He's not back yet. The one you saw was Xiao." Yanzhong sat for a long time, and the wine gradually woke up, realizing in his mind that all the people he saw were ghosts. "But I'm not afraid because I have a strong relationship with my brother." At that time, Xiao was urged to find her sister-in-law, who was in a hurry to see her brother. After a long time, Xiao came back crying and said, "The Li family cannot repay the debt, and they still fight with their father." Yanzhong heard that he ran with Xiao in a hurry and saw 2 people who were slamming their brother to the ground. Yanzhong was furious, swinging his fist and rushing straight through, knocking several people over in a row and saving his brother. The Li family fled around, and Yanzhong chased one, pressed it to the ground and beat it up before he got up. He stamped his feet in his brother's hand and wept sadly, and so did Uncle Yan. When we got back, the whole family came to offer their condolences, so Mr. Yan prepared the wine, and the brothers raised a glass to celebrate. A few moments later, a teenager came in, about 16 or 17 years old, and Uncle Yan called him Da and asked him to meet his uncle. Big brother already has 2 sons in the ground, but the graves between Big brother Yang are untouched. Yan said, pulling Da up and crying to his brother, "My child is young and my wife is dead. So what can be done?" Mr. Yan is also pain and sad. She said to Yan Pa, "If not, let Xiao go with his uncle." Xiao listened, snuggled in uncle's arms, in love, and didn't want to leave. Yanzhong stroked him, feeling increasingly sad, and asked Xiao, "Would you like to come with me?" She replied, "Yes." Yanzhong thought, although Xiao is a ghost and not a living person, but it's better than nothing, and I'm happy. Let him go. Mr. Yan told his brother, "Don't coddle him too much. Let him eat more flesh and blood, and be exposed to the sun every day until afternoon." He was only 6 or 7 years old, and after that, he went through a cold and hot day, regenerated his bones, and he could still marry his wife and have children. But I'm afraid he won't live long. There's a girl outside the door listening. She looks very gentle and quiet. Yanzhong thought she was his brother's daughter. and asked Yanbo. "Her name is Xiangfang. She is my concubine's sister," said Yanbo. "I've been in foster care for 10 years because my parents died and I'm lonely." Yanzhong asked, "Are you married?" "Not yet. Recently, a matchmaker introduced the children of the Higashimura family." The girl mumbled from her window, "I will not marry the cowherd in the Tian family." Ms. Yan was unconscious, but could not speak straight. Then Mr. Yanbo left his seat and stayed in his study for his younger brother. Yanzhong didn't want to stay, but was thinking about Xiang's skirt and trying to feel his brother's meaning. So he resigned and went to bed. It was early spring, and the weather was still cold. There's no fire in the study. It's like being in an icebox. Mr. Yan grew goosebumps without feeling a sense of horror. "I suddenly wanted to drink." Later, a Xiu shoved the door in and put a bowl of meat and a round of wine on the table. Yanzhong and Dashi asked Da Xiao who asked him to come, and Da Xiao replied, "It's Auntie Xiang." Just after drinking, Xiao brought a pot of charcoal covered in ash and put it under the bed. Yanzhong asked, "Have your parents slept yet?" "A novel. Been sleeping for a long time." "Where are you sleeping?" "I slept with Auntie Xiang." Xiaozi waited for his uncle to fall asleep before closing his door and leaving. Yanzhong thought Xiangfu was smart, thoughtful and more adorable. And because she can raise Xiao, she's more determined to marry her. Tossed around the head of the bed. Slept all night. The next morning, Yanzhong told his brother, "I'm alone. I don't have a spouse, so I'm bothering my brother." "We're not poor," says Mr. Yan. "Naturally someone will look for you. I'm afraid it won't do you any good to have a beautiful woman in the shade." Yanzhong said, "What harm do ancient people have in marrying devils?" As if Yanbo understood what he meant. He said, "Zhang's dress is fine, but you must stab the bleeding ghost after the acupuncture to be a living wife." "How can this be sloppy?" Yanzhong said, "You can take care of Xiao even if you marry Xiangdang." Mr. Yan shook his head. "Yanzhong is in mourning." She said, "Just cut Xiang's skirt and give her a quick stab. If you can't, then don't." So I hold the needle and go out to the door and I'm touching Xiangfu, and I'm holding her wrist. And I see that there's blood on her hand, and it's still wet. It turns out that Xiangfu had already tried it herself when she heard Yanbo's words outside the door. She let go of her hand and smiled back to tell Uncle Yan. She's already interested in her uncle. "What are you worried about?" The concubine, furious after hearing about it, ran to the Xiang skirt, poking her finger in the eye and swearing, "Groveling is not bad. Do you want to run away with your little uncle? I'm not going to let you get what you want." Xiang Fangfu is shy and angry, crying for death, making the family furious. Yanzhong is so ashamed that he has left his sister-in-law with Xiao Xiao. My brother said, "You should go back for a while. Don't let Xiao come again so as not to detract from his sunshine." Yancheng said yes. After returning home, Yanzhong deliberately exaggerated Xiao's age, pretending to be the widow's belly that his brother had previously sold. Because Xiao looks like Yanbo, people believe that he is Yanbo's son. When Yanzhong taught Xiao to read, he always asked him to sit under the sun with the book in his hand. At first, Xiao felt bitter and got used to it after a long time. In the sweltering summer weather of June, the table was roasted to the point of irony, but Xiao Bian read while playing, and did not complain. And the smartest, half a book a day. I slept with my uncle at night, and I often told him about my studies. Yanzhong is very grateful. But I always wanted to get married, so I didn't want to marry any other woman. One day, there were two matchmakers coming for Tim, because no woman was in charge. Mr. Yan was restless. Suddenly, Gan came in from outside and said to Yanzhong, "Uncle, don't blame me. I sent the Xiang dress. The other time, because she was too shy to talk to anyone, I deliberately humiliated her. In fact, I'm a good-looking guy who wouldn't let her go with you." Yanzhongjin and Xiangnan were so happy to stand behind Gan. I respectfully asked my sister-in-law to sit down and said that there were other guests in the house and that I had gone out. "I'll be back in a minute." "See you." Gump's gone. Xiangfu unloads her makeup and listens only to the tink of a knife plate as the food arrives. After the guests left, Yanzhong entered the house and saw the Xiang dress sitting in full dress, so she became a friend. In the evening, Xiangfu still wants to sleep with Ah Xiao. And Yanzhong says, I'll warm him up with my own sun temperature. He can't leave me. Let Xiangfu live in another house. Just once a night, over for a few drinks and a party with her. Xiang befriended Yanzhong's ex-son as if he were his own. And Yanzhong liked her even more, and thought she was very benevolent. One night, the couple had a great rapport. Yan jokingly asked Xiang, Are there beautiful people in the shadows too? Xiang Fengfu thought for a long time and replied, I haven't seen it. Only the neighbor's daughter, Wei Lingshan, was said to be beautiful. She's a normal-looking woman, but she'll be dressed up. And she's been with me the longest, but I've always despised her for being so wild. If you want to see her, I can call her right away. It's just the kind of person you can't get offended by. Yanzhong heard that he would see her immediately. Xiang Fengfu talks about her pen as if she were writing a letter, but then throws the pen and says, No, 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 no. Yanzhong repeatedly pleaded, and Xiang Fengfu said, Don't you get carried away with her. Yanzhong agreed. Xiang Fengfu made a few strokes on the paper, like a charm, and burned it outside the door. After a while, the door curtain was buzzing, the hooks rattling, and the laughter of the woman eating came. Xiang Fengfu got up and went out to pull a woman in. I saw her in a tall bun with her front up like a beautiful painting. Xiang Fengla pulled her to bed, and the two men broke up over drinks. When she first met Mr. Yan, the woman was too shy to speak much, covering her mouth with her red sleeves. After a few glasses of wine, I showed my face, and I was laughing with Yanzhong. I didn't have any scruples, and I gradually stretched my feet over Yanzhong's clothes. Yanzhong was so shaken that he couldn't see where he was flying. Only Xiang Feng was in front of her, and Xiang Feng was guarding against the Wei Lingshan, and she didn't leave for a moment. After a while, Wei Lingshan suddenly got up and opened the door curtain and went out. Xiang Feng was busy with her and Zhang also left the house. Wei and Lingshan held Yan's hand and ran into another room. Xiangfu is angry, but she has no choice but to return to her room in anger and let them do whatever they want. Before long, Yanzhong returned, and Xiangfu reprimanded him and said, If you don't listen to me, I'm afraid you won't be able to get rid of her in the future. Yanzhong suspected that Xiangfu was jealous of Wei Lingshan, and the two men broke up with each other. The second night, the wrestler didn't call himself. Xiang Fengfu was so bored she wouldn't answer her. Wei Lingshan and Yanzhong walked off with their hands again. After several nights, Xiangfu could not bear it any longer. Seeing Wei Lingshan come, she scolded him, but couldn't get rid of her. After another month or more, Yanzhong became ill, and then he began to regret it. He called Xiangsker to sleep together, so as to avoid the entanglement of Wei Lingshan. Xiang Fengren also took precautions day and night, but by a little neglect, Yanzhong was snatched up by Wei Lingshan again. Xiang Fengfu was furious, rolling the rolling cane and driving Wei Lingshan outside, and Wei Lingshan also argued with her in anger, and the two men got into a fight. Zhang's skirt was weak, and both her hands and feet were injured by Wei Lingshan. Yanzhong was in a more serious condition when he saw the scene. How can I meet my sister? Xiang cried. A few days later, Yanzhong died. First, Yanzhong Jian and two soap men came in with an ultimatum, and they went with them unknowingly. Fearing that there was no road fare, he invited Zhao Yu to take a seat at his brother's place. When Mr. Yan arrived at the family home, his brother was horrified when he saw him and asked, What's his brother been up to lately? Yan replied, Nothing. It's just a ghost disease. I told my brother the truth. Yanbo listened and said, This is it. Take out a bag of silver and hand it to soaps and say, Please take it away. My brother will never die. Please let him go. And I'll let my son go with you. Nothing will happen. I asked Da to drink with Zhao. I went back into the house and told my family about the situation and ordered Gan to call Wei Lingshan next door. Soon after, Wei Lingshan came in, saw Yanzhong, and fled. Yanbo grabbed her and pulled her back and scolded her. What a slut. Whether she was a slut or a bitch, she'd already be disrespectful and would dare harm my brother. The wrestler slapped her so hard that she lost her hair and looked dispassionate. After a long time, an old woman came in and kneeled on the ground begging for mercy. Ms. Yan scolded her wife for molesting her daughter, and then she let her take her. Yanbo sends Yanzhong back, drifting from place to place, unaware of the door, straight into the bedroom. All of a sudden, Yanzhong woke up to realize that he had just died. Yanbo saw Xiang's skirt and blamed her for saying, "Your sister and I thought you were good, so you followed my brother. I didn't think you'd let him die. If it wasn't for my reputation, I'd have to beat it up." Xiangdang is ashamed and afraid, weeping in a low voice, kneeling before Yanbo to thank her. Seeing Xiao, Yanbo likes to say, "My son looks like a living man." Xiang was going out to cook, and Yanbo said, "I can't eat because my brother's problem is not finished yet." Xiao was 13 years old and became attached to her father. She saw that he was leaving and was tearful. My father consoled him by saying, "I'm happiest with my uncle. I'll come back after I'm gone." "I'm done." I turn around and there's no sign of it. Since then, the audio has not been heard from. Later, Xiao married a wife and gave birth to a son. Xiao Yi died when he was 30. Yanzhong raised his only son, just as his nephew lived. When Yanzhong was 80, Xiao's son was in his 20s, so he was separated. Xiangdang never gave birth. One day, Xiang told Yan, "I'll go underground and get ready to live," and then she'd go to bed and die. Yanzhong was not sad, and he died 6 months later.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.